Alert. What no one tells you about aging could be shortening your life right now. While millions of people over 65 suffer in silence, accepting deterioration as a normal part of aging, a select group enjoys extraordinary longevity with amazing vitality. Their secret? Not miracle pills or expensive treatments, but everyday habits anyone can adopt. The difference between spending your final years bedridden or actively enjoying time with your grandchildren might depend on decisions you make today. Before continuing, I ask a small favor. Many watch these videos without subscribing, and that limits how many seniors we can help. If you value your well-being and want more tips for a fulfilling senior life, subscribe right now. Longevity isn't a matter of luck, but of consistent habits. Recent research shows that 80% of diseases associated with aging are preventable through lifestyle changes. Imagine that. 4 out of 5 problems we consider normal in old age could be completely avoided. The secret lies in understanding that our body is like a perfect machine that needs daily maintenance. Every meal, every moment of rest, every positive or negative thought influences how we age. Centenarians in the so-called blue zones, regions of the world where people live beyond 100 years with extraordinary quality of life, don't follow extreme diets or complicated routines. They've simply integrated healthy habits so deeply into their daily lives that they don't even think about them. Movement is medicine, and the best medicine there is for seniors. Contrary to what many believe, our bodies aren't designed for inactivity, even as we age. In fact, it's precisely in old age when we most need to stay active. A recent study published in the Journal of Aging and Physical Activity demonstrated that older adults who performed just 30 minutes of moderate exercise daily reduced their risk of dependency by an impressive 45%. We're not talking about marathons or intense weightlifting, not at all. A simple daily walk, dancing to your favorite music, or even gardening can make the difference. Since I started walking every morning with my group of neighbors, 78-year-old Carmen told me, not only have my knee pains disappeared, but I've made friendships that fill my soul. Nutrition in senior years deserves special attention, as it's the fuel that keeps our metabolism active and strengthens our immune system. With aging, our body processes nutrients differently, and we need to adapt our diet to maintain optimal well-being. Processed foods, refined sugars, and trans fats become real saboteurs of our health, accelerating inflammatory processes that are at the root of many age-associated diseases. Instead, a diet rich in vibrantly colored vegetables, lean proteins, healthy fats, and whole grains acts as true preventive medicine. Joaquin, 82, confessed to me with a laugh, "When my doctor suggested I eat more vegetables, I thought it was torture, but I discovered that when seasoned well, they're delicious. Now my blood pressure is perfect and I have more energy than my 50-year-old son-in-law." An active mind is the most powerful shield against the cognitive decline we so fear in our senior years. Contrary to popular myth, our brain isn't programmed to fail with age. Neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to form new connections, continues until the last day of our life. The secret lies in giving the brain new challenges constantly. Learning a language, playing a musical instrument, solving crossword puzzles, or simply taking different routes on your walks stimulates the creation of new neural connections. Maria Elena, a vibrant 75-year-old retired teacher, began piano lessons just 3 years ago. My grandchildren couldn't believe it when I told them I was going to learn piano at my age. Now they come to listen to me play and ask me to teach them. There's nothing more rewarding than seeing their surprised little faces when Grandma plays their favorite songs. Happiness isn't a luxury in senior years, but a biological necessity that directly impacts our physical health. Recent studies have shown that older people with a positive attitude and purpose in life have lower levels of cortisol, the stress hormone, and better immune function. It's fascinating. Your emotional state can literally strengthen or weaken your defenses. Many of my senior friends tell me, "Oh, at this point I can't change anymore." What nonsense. The human brain maintains its capacity for adaptation until the end. Francisco, 88, fell into a deep depression after losing his wife of 60 years. "I thought my life was over," he confessed to me. However, when his daughter gave him a puppy, everything changed. That little dog forced me to get up every morning, go for walks, talk to other pet owners. Without realizing it, I started smiling again. Now I have a group of dog friends and we meet 3 times a week in the park. Restorative sleep is, perhaps the most underestimated aspect of healthy aging. With age, our sleep patterns naturally change, but that doesn't mean we should settle for sleeping poorly. During deep sleep, our body releases growth hormone, essential for repairing tissues, strengthening the immune system, and maintaining mental sharpness. Lack of quality sleep is directly associated with increased risk of hypertension, diabetes, depression, and even dementia. I always thought that sleeping less was part of getting older, Pilar, 79, told me. But when my doctor suggested establishing a strict routine for bedtime, avoiding screens 2 hours before sleep, and doing gentle stretches before bed, my life completely changed. Now I sleep 6 hours straight, without waking up at midnight, and I get up with energy to enjoy each day. Proper hydration is fundamental to maintaining every bodily function in optimal condition, especially in senior years when the sensation of thirst naturally diminishes. Our body is approximately 60% water, and this percentage is crucial for digestion, blood circulation, body temperature regulation, and toxin elimination. Many common problems of aging, such as constipation, urinary infections, mental confusion, and even falls, are directly related to chronic dehydration. I was never one to drink much water, Ramon, 83, confessed to me, until my grandson, who studies medicine, gave me a nice bottle with time markings. He challenged me to finish it twice a day. In just 3 weeks, my headaches disappeared, my skin noticeably improved, and most surprisingly, I don't get up as much at night to go to the bathroom. It seems contradictory, but by hydrating better during the day, my kidneys function more efficiently. Meaningful social connections are as important for our health as any prescribed medication. Loneliness and social isolation in senior years aren't just unpleasant emotional states, they're real threats to our physical health. Recent research equates the negative impact of loneliness with smoking 15 cigarettes daily or suffering from obesity. Strong social bonds stimulate the production of oxytocin, a hormone that reduces inflammation, lowers blood pressure, and accelerates wound healing. Mercedes, widowed for 12 years, found her salvation in a knitting group at her community center. At first, I went just to learn to knit, she told me with a laugh. But I found much more than knitting patterns. I found friends who call me if I don't show up one day, who celebrate my small achievements, who listen without judging. We knit blankets for children's hospitals, which gives me purpose. I can assure you that those 2 weekly hours have added years to my life. Independence in daily activities is a treasure we must consciously protect as we age. Maintaining the ability to dress ourselves, groom, prepare our meals, and move around our home without help not only preserves our dignity but also keeps vital neural connections active. Every time we perform a daily task, no matter how simple it seems, we're exercising coordination, balance, strength, and procedural memory. My mother insisted on doing everything for me, Eduardo, 76, told me. With all her good intentions, she would serve my food, pick up my clothes, even wanted to help me dress after my hip operation. I had to ask her, with all my love, to allow me to take twice as long but do it myself. 6 months later, I regained my full mobility, while my brother-in-law, who allowed himself to be pampered too much after a similar operation, still depends on a walker. Independence isn't given, it's worked on daily, even when it takes effort. If these tips are proving valuable to you, share this video with a loved one who might benefit from this information. Remember that sharing knowledge about healthy aging is an act of love. Contact with nature exerts a rejuvenating power that science is only beginning to fully understand. Spending time outdoors, especially in green environments, significantly reduces cortisol levels, lowers blood pressure, and improves immune function in seniors. The phenomenon known as forest bathing in Japan doesn't require extraordinary efforts. Simply being present, breathing fresh air, and absorbing natural sounds produces measurable effects on our well-being. After retiring, I fell into the routine of spending entire days inside the house, Carmela, 81, confessed to me. My doctor, concerned about my increasingly high blood pressure, prescribed me 30 minutes daily in the nearby park. I thought he was joking, but I started bringing my folding chair every afternoon to watch the birds and feel the sun on my face. In 3 months, my pressure stabilized, and we reduced my medication by half. Now I have my own little corner under an orange tree where neighbors know they can find me every afternoon for a good chat. Flexibility, both physical and mental, is perhaps the most valuable quality for healthy and happy aging. Physically, maintaining flexible joints and muscles prevents falls, facilitates recovery after injuries, and allows us to continue enjoying pleasurable activities like dancing, playing with grandchildren, or traveling. Mentally, flexibility allows us to adapt to the inevitable changes that life brings, new technologies, loss of loved ones, changes in our health or circumstances. I was always rigid in my schedules and habits, Javier, 85, told me. When my wife passed away 5 years ago, my children insisted I move in with them or to a retirement home. I flatly refused. But then my 14-year-old granddaughter gave me a tablet and taught me to use video calls. Learning something new at my age was frustrating at first, but what liberation. Now I talk daily with my children, participate in a virtual book club, and even order my groceries online. Accepting change, instead of resisting it, has allowed me to maintain my independence in ways I never imagined. Proper management of chronic diseases makes a crucial difference in quality of life during senior years. Conditions such as diabetes, hypertension, arthritis, or heart problems don't have to define our existence or drastically limit our activities. The secret lies in becoming an active protagonist of one's own health, not a passive victim of disease. This involves educating oneself about the condition, following treatments with discipline, monitoring symptoms, and above all, maintaining open and honest communication with healthcare professionals. When I was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes at 70, I thought it was a sentence, Soledad, 79, shared. My mother had lost her sight, and then a leg from the same disease. But my endocrinologist explained that today, we have tools my mother didn't have. I learned to measure my glucose, adjusted my diet without giving up all pleasures, and walk 40 minutes daily without fail. 9 years later, my levels are better controlled than those of my 50-year-old son, and I enjoy each day with the peace of mind of taking proper care of myself. Constant sensory stimulation is fundamental to keeping our brain alert and our spirit young, regardless of chronological age. With the passing years, our senses naturally lose sharpness. Flavors seem less intense, sounds more muted, colors less vibrant. This sensory diminishment can inadvertently lead to a vicious cycle of less interest in the outside world, fewer new experiences, and consequently, less brain stimulation. Breaking this cycle requires conscious effort. After retiring as an accountant, my life became monotonous and predictable, Alberto, 77, confessed to me. My daughter, concerned, gave me a wine tasting course. At first it seemed frivolous, but learning to distinguish aromas, textures, and flavors awakened something in me. Suddenly, I found myself paying more attention to everything: the smells of the market, the textures of different woods, the nuances of color in a sunset. Now I have a small aromatic garden on my balcony, and each morning I go out to greet my plants, rubbing their leaves between my fingers to awaken all my senses. It's as if I've recovered a dimension of life I had forgotten. The balance between activity and rest constitutes one of the most important pillars of healthy aging, though it's frequently the most neglected. In our society that glorifies staying busy, many older people fall into harmful extremes. Some overload themselves with activities for fear of inactivity, while others surrender to excessive rest that leads to sedentarism. Wisdom lies in finding the middle ground. All my life I was a hyperactive person, Teresa, 84, told me. When I retired, I signed up for 5 different workshops, volunteering, took care of my grandchildren, until my body said enough with severe exhaustion. My doctor explained that at our age the body needs longer recovery periods. I learned to listen to my signals of tiredness and to schedule days of intense activity followed by calmer days. I also incorporated a short nap after lunch, something I previously considered wasting time. Paradoxically, now that I allow myself to rest properly, I have more energy for activities I truly enjoy and fewer ailments than when I tried to do everything every day. Are you applying any of these tips in your daily life? Leave me a comment telling me about your experience. And don't forget to subscribe to receive more content about well-being and longevity. Anti-inflammatory nutrition. emerges as one of the most effective strategies to combat accelerated aging and maintain optimal health in senior years. Low-grade chronic inflammation is now considered by experts as the common denominator of virtually all diseases associated with aging, from arthritis and diabetes to heart disease, dementia, and certain types of cancer. The fascinating thing is that we can control this silent inflammation primarily through what we eat. Processed foods, refined sugars, white flours, and trans fats act as true incendiaries in our body, while colorful fruits, leafy green vegetables, fatty fish, nuts, spices like turmeric and ginger, and extra virgin olive oil function as authentic firefighters, extinguishing inflammation. I was always skeptical about food being medicine, Manuel, 78, confessed to me, but when my rheumatologist suggested eliminating refined flours and increasing consumption of fish and vegetables before resorting to stronger medication for my arthritis, I decided to try it. In 6 weeks, the difference was so noticeable that even my wife, who saw how I struggled to tie my shoes before, was surprised. Now I can play bowling with my friends without pain, something I had given up on. Gut health care represents a revolution in our understanding of healthy aging. What we previously considered simply a digestive system, we now know is a complex ecosystem with trillions of microorganisms that directly influence our immunity, mood, body weight, and even brain health. With age, the diversity of our gut microbiota tends to decrease, which is associated with increased inflammation, cognitive deterioration, and vulnerability to diseases. Fortunately, we can nurture our beneficial bacteria at any age. When my doctor told me about the importance of good bacteria, I thought it was a passing fad. Rosario, 81, told me, but I started including fermented foods like natural yogurt, kefir, and sauerkraut in my daily diet, along with more fiber from fruits, vegetables, and legumes. The change was gradual but profound. First, my digestion improved. Then I noticed more energy. And finally, something I didn't expect, my skin regained luminosity. My granddaughter says I look 10 years younger, and I tell her it's thanks to my invisible little friends in my gut. Fall prevention deserves priority attention in any healthy aging strategy, as a simple fall can trigger a dramatic decline in independence and quality of life. The statistics are alarming. 1 in 3 people over 65 suffers at least one fall per year, and after the first fall, the risk of falling again doubles. Most concerning is that many older people, after a fall, develop a fear that leads them to reduce their physical activity, thus initiating a vicious cycle of muscle weakness, loss of balance, and increased risk of new falls. After slipping in my kitchen and fracturing my wrist, I developed a terrible fear of moving alone around the house. Luisa, 76, confessed to me. My physiotherapist explained that this fear was my worst enemy. She enrolled me in a program of specific exercises to strengthen legs and improve balance. We also evaluated my home. We removed loose rugs, installed support bars in the bathroom, and improved lighting. 6 months later, not only did I regain my confidence to move freely, but my balance is better than before the accident. Now I even practice Tai Chi twice a week, something I would never have imagined at my age. Proper medication. Management becomes a crucial aspect of well-being in senior years, especially considering that many older people take 5 or more medications daily. This polypharmacy, although sometimes necessary, carries significant risks, drug interactions, amplified side effects, and prescription cascades when a new drug is prescribed to treat the side effects of another. Most concerning is that certain medications that are well tolerated in young adults can become problematic with aging due to changes in liver metabolism and kidney function. For years, I accumulated medications from different specialists. Ernesto, 83, told me. I was taking 12 pills daily and feeling increasingly dazed and with less energy. I thought it was simply old age, until my son insisted I visit a geriatrician for a complete review of my medication. The doctor identified 3 medications that were interacting negatively and 2 more that were no longer necessary. With his supervision, we gradually reduced my regimen to just 5 essential medications. The difference was like coming out of a fog. I regained mental clarity, energy, and even my sense of humor. Now I keep an updated list of all my medications and share it with any doctor I consult. Strength training represents perhaps the most revolutionary change in our understanding of ideal exercise for seniors. For decades, mainly gentle cardiovascular activity such as walking or swimming was recommended, underestimating the critical importance of muscle work. Today we know that sarcopenia, loss of muscle mass and function associated with aging, begins around age 30 and accelerates after 65, contributing to frailty, falls, and loss of independence. The extraordinary thing is that this process is not inevitable. Recent studies show that adults in their 80s and 90s can significantly increase their strength and muscle mass with proper training. When my grandson, who is a personal trainer, suggested I lift weights at 77, I thought he was crazy, Pilar told me with a laugh. We started with canned goods as weights and very simple exercises. We gradually progressed to light dumbbells and resistance bands. In 6 months, the changes were amazing. I can get up from the sofa without help, carry my own grocery bags, and I've even regained the strength to open jars that I used to have to ask for help with. My doctor is impressed with the improvement in my bone density, and I'm delighted to have regained independence I thought was lost forever. If these tips are proving valuable to you, don't forget to like the video and turn on notifications so you don't miss future content about well-being and longevity. Hydrotherapy emerges as an extraordinarily beneficial and accessible resource for maintaining health and well-being in senior years. Water, with its unique properties, offers an ideal environment for older people. It reduces impact on joints, provides natural resistance to strengthen muscles, and improves blood circulation. Additionally, the hydrostatic pressure of water acts as a gentle massage for the entire body, reducing inflammation and alleviating chronic pain. All my life I suffered from severe arthritis, Mercedes 84 told me. Medications helped, but the side effects were almost as bothersome as the pain itself. When my daughter enrolled me in aquagym classes for seniors, I went without many expectations. What a surprise I got. In the water, I could move with a freedom I had forgotten. I started with 2 weekly sessions and now go 4 times a week. Not only has my joint pain decreased, but I've made a wonderful group of friends. We call ourselves the Silver Mermaids and always have coffee together after class. My rheumatologist is so impressed with my progress that he has reduced my medication by half. Volunteering in senior years constitutes powerful medicine for body and soul, with benefits that science is only beginning to fully quantify. Recent studies show that older adults who regularly dedicate time to helping others experience lower blood pressure, less chronic inflammation, better sleep patterns, and up to 40% less risk of depression compared to their non-volunteering peers. The explanation seems to lie in the sense of purpose and social connection that volunteering provides, 2 factors that activate neurological pathways associated with well-being and longevity. After retiring as a teacher, I felt an enormous void, Ignacio, 79, confessed to me. My days became monotonous, and I began to obsess over my minor ailments. My doctor, instead of prescribing antidepressants, suggested I offer a few weekly hours as a reading tutor at the local library. At first I went out of obligation, but seeing those children's eyes light up when they understand a new story, that's priceless. Now I go 3 afternoons a week and, curiously, on volunteering days is when my knees hurt less and I sleep better at night. My doctor jokes saying he should prescribe me 2 hours of children 3 times a week as official treatment. Controlled sun exposure represents a delicate but crucial balance for healthy aging. For decades, the predominant message has been to avoid the sun at all costs, to prevent skin cancer and premature aging. However, modern science reveals a more nuanced reality. Vitamin D deficiency, primarily produced through sun exposure, is associated with increased risk of osteoporosis, muscle weakness, depression, cognitive decline, and even certain types of cancer. The secret lies in moderation and the right timing. I was always very careful avoiding the sun, Carmela, 82, told me. I covered myself completely and wore enormous hats. In my annual checkup, my doctor detected a severe vitamin D deficiency, which explained my frequent fractures and low mood. He recommended 15 minutes of daily sun exposure early in the morning or at sunset, without sunscreen on arms and legs, but always protecting my face. I established the routine of having my morning coffee on the balcony, with my arms exposed to the gentle morning sun. 6 months later, my vitamin D levels normalized, my bone pain decreased considerably, and surprisingly, even my mood improved. Now I understand that, like almost everything in life, the key is in balance. Constant cognitive stimulation through new learning represents perhaps the most effective strategy for maintaining an agile brain resistant to age-associated deterioration. Contrary to what was previously believed, our brain maintains an amazing plasticity until the end of life, with the capacity to form new neural connections when faced with novel challenges. The fascinating thing is that it's not simply about doing brain exercises, but immersing ourselves in authentic learning experiences that take us out of our comfort zone. At 75, after becoming a widow, my children gave me a smartphone thinking it would keep me connected. Elena, 83, told me. At first I resisted. It seemed too complicated for someone of my generation. But my 14-year-old granddaughter set out to teach me with infinite patience. We started with basic calls and messages. Then I learned to use photography apps. And finally I ventured to participate in a WhatsApp group with my former coworkers scattered across the country. Mastering this technology not only reconnected me with loved ones, but awakened in me a curiosity I thought was dormant. Now I take digital photography classes at the community center, and I'm learning to edit my own images. My neurologist says this type of constant learning is better than any medication for keeping my brain young. And so we come to the end of our journey through the secrets of truly full and healthy aging. Have you noticed how all these aspects intertwine, forming a resilient fabric of well-being? Longevity with quality isn't the result of a single miraculous habit, but of small daily decisions that, like persistent drops, sculpt the rock of our health. I wonder, dear friend, which of these aspects resonates most with you? What small change could you implement tomorrow to take a step toward that radiant aging we all deserve? Remember that it's never too late to start, and that each day is a new opportunity to care for that wonderful body and mind that have accompanied you throughout your life. If this video has been valuable to you, I invite you to subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss our next content on how to turn each year into an opportunity to grow, not just to age. And meanwhile, I leave you with this reflection. True youth isn't in the absence of wrinkles, but in the presence of curiosity, adaptability, and joy. Until our next meeting,